How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the channel again. My name is Max, and today I have Steph from MyNerdyHome on the channel once again. That's like twice in 2 weeks. I am super thrilled to have her on. Last time I had her on, we talked about relationships and how to date kind of in a geeky comic book world. And it was super fun to talk about her with that topic. So I decided, let's have her on again. But now let's talk about power couples. Let's talk about relationships that we have seen in comic books that we absolutely love or that we have an affinity for. So Steph, I'm just going to let you take the reins on this one and start off with some of your favorites that you want to mention.
Okay. Well, I absolutely love DC Comics, the DC catalog, DC heroes. I mean, I'm a huge DC girl. I haven't really been all that into Marvel or gotten into Marvel as much as DC. So that's mostly where my power couples come from. But my one main one that I absolutely love is Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle and their whole dynamic. I love them. Now at the opposite end of the spectrum, we have Joker and Harley Quinn, and I love that dynamic as well. It's not family friendly. It's actually an incredibly toxic relationship, but
Yes.
But I love that relationship dynamic where you have really two incredibly toxic people coming together and just wreaking havoc on Gotham. I absolutely love that. Going along like with Bruce Wayne, I actually like his relationship with Talia al Ghul as well. They're not a power couple, but it does lead into Bruce Wayne and his relationship with his son Damian. So I like that relationship too. And I know that there's the classic Superman and Lois relationship. And while I do like that relationship, I think that there's just a little bit more with Selina and Batman that I just like. I like a little bit more. So yeah, I think those would be my power couples. If I had
And that's no, I love all of those because each one of them, though they are probably the bigger characters in the DC universe, there's a reason for that. You know what I mean? Like people love those couples because of that, of those relationships. In the context of like a power couple, of course, like Superman and Lois take the cake, I feel like, because, you know, when Superman comes home from a long day of saving the world, from saving the universe, who does he come home to gain his strength from? He gets it from Lois. You know what I mean? She's the one who is his rock. At the end of the day, when he's just exhausted from saving, like I said, saving the universe, he comes home, goes home to a strong female character that is written really, really well in most of DC continuity, and she's his strength. You know, he fights for her and for his family and for the world. So yes, I agree with you. I think it's definitely a power couple there, but with the Selina Kyle Batman aspect, I think what you were kind of talking about was there are a lot of different ways you can go with that. The will they, won't they?
Will they, won't they? Yeah, there's so many ways that their relationship can be written.
Right.
And so many storylines that can be written with them. That doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, Selina by his side, giving him strength, kind of like Superman and Lois. You know, there's points in their relationship where, you know, they're at odds, where she's, you know, the main villain, or where she has his back and they have to work together. And I think that I like that dynamic a lot more. I don't want to say I like it a lot more. I like it more story-wise, because I love the Superman and Lois relationship. I really do. You know, we have a couple that is just like their bond is unbreakable.
Yeah.
I love that aspect. However, from a storyline and story writing perspective, I like the Selina and Batman a lot because there's just so much more that can be written from them, and you know, a lot of storylines that are written about them. So like I really like their relationship too. Based on like just story wise, you can get a lot more from that couple.
Of course, yeah, and I like that you mention that and that you bring that up because of the fact that it's like beautifully heartbreaking, because they both know that that they love each other, but that they can't, like, it would never work, like they just can't be together romantically in that way, because Batman will never stop saving the city and Catwoman will never stop Catwomaning. Like
Yeah.
they're
I think
just
that's their wedding issue is like such a big deal,
right,
because
right,
it
right.
like because of it's like, oh my gosh, it's finally happening,
Yeah.
And that's why I love that's why I say I love the Joker Harley dynamic.
yeah.
It's like the opposite end of the spectrum, because during
Yeah.
that wedding storyline we had the Joker coming in and wreaking havoc even at their wedding, and
Mhm.
it's so I that's why I kind of like DC characters in that way, because it's incredibly entertaining.
Mhm.
It's incredibly entertaining to read, and I like the fact that like we have, yes, Bruce is broken, he's a broken man.
Yeah.
And so is Selena Kyle in ways as well, but I feel like Harley and Joker are just like, they're insane people
That's a whole lot. I
who
mean,
want to cause havoc, and
yeah.
just for laughs, for kicks, and it's interesting, just reading just having that toxic relationship play out and reading it, and Harley leaving and then coming back and then leaving again and then it's a very toxic relationship that they share, but it's also incredibly interesting to read, and I think that's why I really like the DC catalog of heroes and villains, because they're so well written and so layered.
Mhm.
And I've always loved that ever since the animated series came out. Like if I go and rewatch the animated series, it's not just for kids. You can sit down and watch that as an adult and still enjoy it, because there are a lot of adult themes in that show. So I just really love the DC catalog.
Yeah, and all of what you've just said is so accurate. And I see you and I raise you one, because as I had mentioned before we started the video, one of my favorite couples, and though they're not technically a power couple, but I love the dynamic, because it is so heartbreaking, between Wolverine and Jean Grey, because and this was in the X-Men animated series as well. So you talking about the Batman animated series,
Yeah.
there are a lot of parallels between Marvel and DC, but for me, because I think I read a little bit more Marvel as opposed to DC, there's a lot to say when you have someone like Wolverine, who's this broken, beaten down, beast of a man who is torn between, am I a beast or am I a man? Am I a weapon? Am I Weapon X or am I Wolverine or am I Logan? And he's torn between all these personalities and all these time periods, and he has so many haunting aspects about him. And yet Jean still loves him for it, but knows, she loves, Cyclops much more, like in that romantic sense, but she loves Wolverine for his brokenness, for his pain, and yet she knows she can't get too close to him because he loves her so much. Like in so many of his in Wolverine's past comics, he has nightmares and dreams and night terrors of waking up with Jean or being with Jean, and he's infatuated with her, and she knows that because she can obviously read his mind. And it's just, like I said, it's just hauntingly beautiful, this like this dynamic, and they're like, you want them to be together, but you know that it can't happen. But I don't know, that it's very interesting. I think another one that I really enjoy is Silver Surfer.
It's sad because it's like you really want this person that you can't have.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's very sad.
And I know a lot of people who read that, read into that, maybe see themselves a little bit in,
Yeah.
they don't have to be a man who's laced with adamantium in their skeleton with claws and a healing factor to understand his pain. They
Mhm.
can see, they can feel that, because I think everyone has been in a situation where they've been in a relationship and they've said like, or they've wanted to be in a relationship and know that it might not ever work. So yeah, I just think it's hauntingly beautiful, like I said.
It's interesting that you chose that
Yeah.
relationship.
Well, I think too, because as I was saying a little bit earlier, like Silver Surfer and Chala Ball,
Hmm.
that's one that like a lot of people don't really know about, or even know that Silver Surfer was married before he became Silver Surfer. And yet, like when you read the old storylines of Surfer, as he like travels the spaceways, he's always longing to go back to Chala Ball. Like his whole existence is to, at one point in time, leave Galactus, not be the herald of Galactus anymore, and go home to be with Chala Ball, his like one true love, his wife, his everything, and it's like, it's so torturous to be pulled away from your loved one like that. Like he sacrifices himself in order
Right.
to become the Surfer. But in doing so, he loses his loved one. He loses Chala. So I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm weird and I enjoy these
wanted to
fucked
ask
up
you, like,
relationships.
what do you think that says about you, that the two couples that you chose are like, it's torturous? We have
I
one
know,
man who
right?
really wants to be home with his wife, but he can't, and then another man, who is longing for this woman who's in love with someone else
Yeah.
and just can't have her. What do you think?
It either says I'm really fucked up in the head, or it means that I have a weird outlook of what a relationship should look like. But yeah, either way, I mean, I think we can both agree, like the ultimate power couple, of course. Like, have we ever seen Superman and Lois break up? I can't recall. I'm sure maybe at one point in comic books they've not been together or something, but yeah,
That's like it's the ultimate power couple. It's like
Yeah.
a relationship that you envision for yourself, is Superman and Lois, just two people in love, with all their hearts, and supportive of each other, understanding of each other, willing to risk their lives for each other. That's kind of like a relationship too that you would like want to attain for yourself.
Right.
And it's a beautiful relationship. It really is. It's a beautiful relationship. I think that's why so many people love Superman and Lois, because it's just like they're so in love and they would do anything for each other, go through any pain for each other, be broken without one another, and it's such a beautiful relationship. But at the same time, I'm like, I kind of like Batman better. I don't know why.
Of course, yeah. I mean, everyone likes to. I mean, there's a reason why soap operas and telenovelas do so well.
I know.
On daytime television. I mean, they're so addicting, and you feel for these people, and you see yourself in these people, in these characters, and so you can have that affinity towards them. And so I think ideologically, of course, I would want my relationship to look like Superman's and or Clark's and Lois's. However, realistically, I think more of the relationships that we get within comic books, portray a lot of real life, portray a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering and heartbreak, and that is a lot of
I think
relationships.
it kind of has to, being, these heroes doing what they do.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Of course. That's such a great point. Yeah.
Yeah. These heroes doing what they do, living their lives the way they live them. There's a lot of sacrifice that comes with that.
Yeah.
So I think that like not really having that perfect relationship written, in a superhero comic is a good thing in my mind.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. I love that you bring that up, and that's like It's, you know, I didn't even think about that when we started this. It really is why so many of these dynamics either don't work out or are somewhat broken, or you know, there's just so much pain behind them, because what our heroes do is they sacrifice themselves for the good of others, and that means not just themselves but their personal relationships too. And that hurts, and that's it's really tough to read, but it also gives you hope that these characters will never give up on you, you know what I mean, because they're continually showing how much they'll sacrifice for others, even if it means their own personal relationships, you know, which is which is beautiful in its own way.
Spider-Man as well.
Oh my gosh. Mary Jane and Spider-Man. There's another one. Yeah. Oh my God.
Mary Jane and Spider-Man. And like the whole the heartbreaking storyline with, you know, Spider-Man and Gwen Stacy, where like she died.
Yeah.
You know, there's just some things written in comic books that's just they deal with adult issues and, you know, real stakes. And I think that's beautiful. And it's kind of like, do you even want a relationship when you have this life that you're living?
Yeah. It asks the hard questions, you know, it really makes you think and go, man, if I had that type of power, or, you know, if I had this responsibility of being this hero towards others, would I be able to give of myself into a relationship? You know, would I be able to be that same hero for someone else, personally, in that, you know, relationship? I mean, this isn't, I would love to see like Spider-Man and Black Cat be a power couple, you know, because I think that,
you
like,
bring that up, didn't you?
Yeah, I have to. I will confess, I think Black Cat is one of the hottest, most gorgeous, like, just amazing characters in the Marvel universe. I think she's always done so well, and you know, I just love the dynamic between them two. How she's always kind of like, leave Mary Jane, and like, come with me, Spidey. You know you want, you know, Black Cat, and like, I don't know. It's a fun dynamic, but ultimately, you know, Spidey's heart will always be for Mary Jane. But no, I like the costume setup, the aesthetic, like all that stuff. But that's neither here nor there. So to kind of, I'll end with this, because I think we mentioned like a lot of really cool couples, especially the one that you were talking about with Bruce and Talia, and Bruce being like a father figure, which he had never, you know, really thought about or done before. You know, of course with some Robins, but
he didn't even know.
Exactly, yeah.
And he a surprise to him. So that's interesting. That's why I like that couple and that relationship, just because it leads into something new, something different. Even though Damian Wayne is a little brat, but that's a whole other thing. Right. But you know, it leads into something new and different for Bruce, and that's why I really kind of like that relationship. Because it just leads. They have their own thing. They have, you know, their own on and off again relationship, but at the end of that relationship is a new, different relationship for Bruce. He's a father now, and what does that look like now? Because that's something that he's never had to deal with. So that's why I really like that relationship, just because of the end result. We have Bruce taking on the role of being a father.
So rad. And like a father by blood, you know what I mean? Like he had taken on other Robins before, but really never truly meant what fatherhood meant. You know,
this is, and he becomes Robin, and so it's kind of like, whoa, how's that gonna work? You know, because that's his role. Like, he's always and he led Damian to being, you know, the new Robin. And to me, it kind of felt like, well, that's naturally where it would lead, right? Because he's taken these other kids in and they've become Robin. So it's like, this is how he knows how to parent.
Yeah.
That whole dynamic is really good. I really like it.
Well, like I said, thank you so much for sharing. I would have never even thought of that. So that's why you're on, because that's why you bring such great, you know, content and conversation to this channel, because you know, it's stuff that I wouldn't necessarily have even thought about or talked about. So I love it. But yeah, Steph, thank you so much for swinging by. Guys, if you are watching this and you have a specific power couple that, or just a couple that you really like associate with or feel for, so what are some relationships that you guys really enjoy, that you appreciate? I would love to hear like, there are going to be so many good ones in the comment section below, ones that I've never even heard of or thought about. So but yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Once again, Steph, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll see you guys in the next video.